to be a representation being made that I informed the council through this committee that you could not do this, that this was unlawful. That is not what I said to this committee.
That is correct.
What I said to the committee and the city council is that this is what's called another term that may be learned, an area of first impression with respect to the courts and the regulation of these kinds of materials within the state, not only in this state, but around the nation and around the world. What we have done is something that I understand from the State Attorney General's office. We're encouraging other municipalities to do this, is to give a tool to the community to deal with items that at least most people in the community recognize are detrimental to the safety, health, and welfare of the individuals who live in that community. That's what's being proposed here tonight. So I want to make sure that the council committee, the council, the public here, and anybody watching this television broadcast are not under the impression that this council is going to take an action that is clearly unlawful. Thank you.
I do have a question for the city attorney and other councilors as he has the floor. The issue came up a few times this evening about concern about if this ordinance goes forward and is passed by city council, that it's very quickly will be outdated because of that. Would you be able to address that in more detail, that concern?
To some extent, I understand from the State Crime Lab that one of the ways that we've been trying to draft this ordinance is to anticipate where these things are going. That's one thing that I can tell you. The other one is that it's clear both on the state level and the federal level that, as somebody suggested here, other techniques have to be employed with respect to these substances. Some states, in at least one state in the United States and one country, New Zealand, have taken an approach that is being considered around the country, and that is to sort of take this even out of the chemical composition analysis and put it into the Food and Drug Administration analysis, so that if it's not something that's approved by the FDA, then it's not something that you could sell. Now, I understand that there are people in the room who wouldn't want the FDA to be involved in it either, but at least at this point, that's a technique that can be used. The reality is that everybody understands that at least at this point it's an effort to, for a period of time that we can use it, to effect some kind of change while we are trying to grapple with the issue.
Thank you. Does anybody have a question for the city attorney before I? There's nobody else for the first time, second time wishes to speak. Sir, please make it brief. This is not about you, but in fairness to everybody here on this issue and everybody else.
Nicholas Ryder, 725 Marlborough Road. I want to direct a question through you to the police chief on the plans on how to know when to enforce this. Like a previous speaker said, you look at the package, doesn't have much information about what it is. How does the police chief know what is what? That's my general question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kenneth, Police Chief. It is an evolving issue here. We've worked with the city attorney, we've worked with the county attorney relative to prosecution issues and how we would enforce this because I agree, it does look like a science textbook to some great degree. We're working through how we would identify these substances, what actions we would take, and working with the crime lab to identify if they are illegal under the ordinance. So it's evolving. It's not something that I have a solid answer for, but we would undertake it like any other investigation to determine if this was illegal or if it didn't fall within the guidelines of the ordinance that it currently states. It's my understanding through Attorney Mullins, we worked very closely with the crime lab, and they were anticipatory in how some of these compounds would evolve into the future based upon what they've seen in the past. So we've heard the stories of what these chemicals are doing to people. Support this ordinance. I think it's a great idea. I support all the folks here, the moms, and children who come up here and share their stories. It surely is an epidemic throughout the country. It's a plague of sorts. It needs to be controlled.
Any questions for Chief Miller? Councilor O'Connor.
With this ordinance, the police officer and key have discretion. This isn't a shall.
Like any other law,
Discretion
about
about
discretion.
arresting. Most likely you would seize the product at discretion of
It's like any other substance abuse issue we deal with here in the city. I think the city and this community have been front runners in a number of venues relative to the drug court, starting with the drug court, recognizing addictions do drive some behaviors, criminal behaviors, and really working with individuals based upon their addictions and the criminality they've expressed through their addictions, and really looking at the history and getting a better sense of how to treat that, how to treat the addiction portion of it. So far, we've had great success. I think through our prosecution efforts, we refer a lot of people for substance abuse evaluations and work in order to eliminate some of these addictions in their lives. So that's always a position we've taken. We will continue to do so with this as well.
Thank you. I think we're at the point, unless someone raises their hand, the committee can speak. I just want to clarify one thing with the city attorney, if I may. If the committee decides to endorse and recommend adoption of this ordinance, it goes right to the city council next week for discussion and a vote, yea or nay, correct? There is no public hearing?
Not at the public, not at the city council. Right.
Exactly. So for folks here this evening, or if you know anybody else, I do believe comments are accepted up until Tuesday afternoon if you want to weigh in further, yea or nay, on this issue. But once the committee is done with their discussion this evening, which will commence very briefly, and a vote is taken, no public comment, verbal, in-person, real-time comment will be accepted, but you can communicate up until Tuesday afternoon, and those communications with the city clerk's office will be part of the record for councilors to look at and review when they vote a week from tomorrow. That said, is there any comments or thoughts from committee members? Councilor Jones.
Thank you.